Good afternoon, everybody. Today we will discuss about the SQL constraints. Okay, the topics we are going to discuss here is the what is the constraint and what are the different types of constraints. Okay, first we have to know about the what is the constraint. Constraint means the limits or rules that the users can specify when you are creating the tables or inserting values in it. The rules or conditions which can be specified while creating the tables or inserting values in this. So otherwise we can also define the constraint as the restrictions. Restrictions on the data to ensure better performance on the database. To increase the performance of the data, we can use the constraints. Okay, so these constraints restrict the type of data that is to be inserted in the table of the database, which allows the better results while executing the SQL queries. When you are restricting by using these constraints, the data of the type of the data which we are inserting into the database can be restricted. The proper data can be inserted into the databases or the tables. The updation, deletion, all those can be restricted. Okay, these we also define the constraint as the which are used to specify the rules for data in the table to ensure the accuracy and reliability of data in the database. To ensure the accuracy, we need to specify the constraints. To ensure the reliability of the data, we need to use the constraints. And these can be divided into two types. Those may be the column level or table level. Column level are limits only the columns data. When you specify the column level constraints, you can restrict the only those columns only. If we specify the table level constraints, we can limit the whole table's data. Okay, so we can specify the constraint as the column level as the table level. So this also makes sure that the integrity of data is maintained in the database. And this constraint can be specified when you are creating the table or after the creation of the table. By using the alter table statement, we can also specify the constraints. Okay, you can specify the constraints while you are creating the table by using the create table statement, or after creation you can also specify the constraints by using alter table syntax. To specify the constraints while creating the table, the syntax for that is this: create table, table name, okay, and columns. This is the column name and the data type related to that column and constraint which you are specifying. Okay, the constraints to be specified for the column. When you are specifying the constraint after the column name, those becomes the column level constraints. If we specify the constraint at the end, those becomes the table constraint. Okay, I will show in the example. Okay, we have many types of constraints. These are the generally used constraints which can be applied for the tables. Those are the not null, unique, primary key, foreign key, check, and default. These are the different constraints which can be applied to the table. Okay, these are the different constraints. Okay, not null. Not null ensures that the column cannot have a null values. It is there is a possibility to enter the null values in the tables. Null means nothing. For example, if we are creating the table, if we are created the table with student details, in the table you have the column student roll number, name, father name, address, like that. Address column may you have to fill address, and another column you have the city. Somebody have the no address. In the address column, you have to enter the what is that house number and street, like that. If you don't have any idea about that, you can leave that. In those situations, you can leave that as the null. Not known, in those situations, you can leave that as the empty. Or you can specify the null, means we have no idea about that. Okay, if we specify the not null, you cannot have it, the table does not accept the null values in those columns. Okay, next is the unique. Unique means which ensures all the values are unique for that column, means different values, no repetitions are accepted. Okay, next, primary key. Primary key is the combination of not null and unique. When you specify the primary key, generally this primary key constraint can be used to identify the each row in the table. For example, if we have the table student, what is the identification for you? Student number or your roll number or your hall ticket number is the identification of you, because it cannot be null and it is the unique to that student. So with the help of that roll number or hall ticket number, we can identify the entire details of that related number. So generally the primary key is to define, to identify the each row in the table. The combination of not null plus unique means you have to enter the values. It does not accept null values, as well as these must be the unique values. And next is the foreign key. Foreign key means prevents the action that would destroy links between the tables. Generally, this foreign key is the common key between the two tables. To relate that both the tables are, if you want to generate the link between the two tables, you can use this foreign key to generate the relationship between those two. In those situations, foreign key can be used. What is the foreign key? Which is the common in both the tables. That means the foreign key is the key which is the primary key in its related table. Okay, which refers the primary key of that related table. Okay, next, check constraints. Check constraints ensures that the values in a column satisfy the specific condition. For example, marks should be in between the 0 and 100. If you are entering the students, the city must be either Warangal or Kazipet or Hyderabad or Bombay, only those cities. In those situations also you can specify some specified conditions. Okay, always the marks must be the positive value. For that you can specify the marks always must be greater than 0. That can be specified by using this check constraint. And another is the default constraint. Default means to set the default value for a column. If no value is specified, the default value is set for that column. Okay, we can learn in detail about these all constraints. First, the not null constraint. By default, a column can hold the null values. In the database or in the tables, the column can hold the null values. Okay, if we enter the null, that means we have no idea, nothing value we have to enter in that. In those situations, you can enter the null in the columns. Okay, when we specify the not null constraint, which enforces a column to not accept null values. Okay, so you have to enter the certain value for that column. That means which enforces a field. Field means column to always contain a value, which means that you cannot insert a new record or update a record without adding a value to that field. Without adding the value into that record, you cannot insert the new record into that database. Okay, not null means not accepts null values. For example, here we have the table, that is the persons table. Here we are specifying the not null for the what is that, ID, which is used to identify the person, and last name and first name. What is the meaning of that? You have to enter the, if you are inserting the new records, you have to enter the person's ID as well as the last name, first name. If you don't have data about the last name and first name, you cannot enter those records. You only enter those records which have whose ID have the last name, first name, like that. Age can be leaved empty or you can enter the null. Okay, this is the example for when you are creating. Here create table persons. I am creating the persons table with the fields ID, last name, first name and age. Just now I am creating the table. Just now I am creating. So when we are creating the table like this, we can specify after the field column name, data type. After that you can specify the constraint, which constraints you are using. That constraint can be applied there. We can also create the not null constraint. Here we are entered for only ID, last name, first name. After the creation, I want to add the not null constraint for the age also. That means already created table. In those situations, you can use the alter table statement. Alter table command can be used to alter the table. Means you want to add the constraint for the age field. For that, here I am using alter table persons. Modify, here already created table. So we are modifying the existing column. So we have to use the modify class, and age, that is the int, same data type must be specified. The constraint you are adding is the not null. The table is modified. Now the table is persons table with ID, last name, first name, age, and all are not null. Means all columns should be entered. It does not accept any null values in that. Okay. Next is the unique constraint. Unique constraint, which helps to uniquely identify each row in the table. That means for a particular column, all the rows should have unique values. There is no repetitive values in that column. Okay, all values should be unique values. We can have more than one unique columns in the table. If we have the table created with 5 columns, in that the 3 columns or 4 columns or entire columns can be specified as the unique columns. Okay, we can have the more than one unique column in a table. The unique constraint ensures that all values in a column are different. Means no repeated values can be accepted. Both the unique and primary key constraint provide a guarantee for uniqueness for a column or set of columns. But a primary key constraint automatically has a unique constraint. Means automatically when we specify the primary key, it automatically accepts the unique values. But there is the difference between these two. We can define the as many as unique constraint for the different columns in the table. But only we have to specify the only one column, only one primary key column for the table. More than one column can be defined as the unique constraint in the table. But only one primary key must be defined in the table. That is the difference between these two. Okay, for example, here unique constraint on the ID. ID means to identifying the person. So here defining ID as the not null as well as the unique. Here ID for the persons table, when I am creating, for ID it is the data type int, it is specifying the two constraints, not null as well as the unique. So you have to, it does not accept null values as well as the repeated values. Okay, here for L name you entered the not null only, means L name does not accept null values, and F name and age. The constraints can also be defined by its name. For that, you can to name a unique constraint, and also to define unique constants and multiple columns, you can define like this. Here we defined only for ID column unique. After the column name, you can specify this constraint. If you want to specify for the multiple columns, in those situations, that becomes the table constraint, table level. Okay, and when we are specifying the table constraint, you need to specify the name for that constraint. Here you observe that create table persons, the ID, this is the not null, here L name is also not null. Here we are specifying the combination of and ID and L name may be the unique. And here you observe constraint is the keyword, constraint name. Here I named as unique constraint on the person table, and constraint is the unique with combination of two columns. Like that we can define the table constraint like this. Now the ID and L name combination must be unique values. And already existing table can be altered by using the alter table. If you want to add the unique constraint for the ID, for that you can use like this: alter table, table name, persons table, add unique ID. Here I am adding the unique constraint to the ID. So you can use like this. Okay, and you can also name the constraint by using the alter statement. Here you observe alter table persons, add when you want to name the unique constraints. In those situations you have to use the constraint keyword. If you name that can be dropped by further. Okay, add constraint name, unique ID and last name. Like this you can also alter after the creation of this table. Here we are named the constraint as the UC person. This constraint can be dropped. Dropping means deleting. For that you have to use the alter with drop. Okay, alter table persons, drop constraints UC person. That means we are dropping the constraint which is defined on the ID and last name. The unique constraint on these two tables is dropped. Means now it accepts. After this statement, the constraint is dropped. Now we can insert the records with already existing IDs. Means because it is unique constraint is dropped. Now it accepts the repeated values. For example, we enter the 101 as the ID, and again we can insert the 101 because we are dropped here. Okay, this is the example of dropping and altering the unique constraint. Okay, next is the primary key constraint. Primary key constraint is used to uniquely identify each record or row in a table. Primary key can be known as the identification key, identified attribute. We can say that primary key column as the identifying key or identified attribute. The primary key must contain the unique values and cannot contain the null values. So primary key is equal to not null plus unique. Primary can be defined as a unique plus not null. A table can have only one primary key. And in the table, this primary can consist one single or multiple columns. We can define the primary key on single column or multiple columns, but must be the only one primary key in the table. A table can have only one field as the primary key. Okay, because that key can be used for the identification purpose, identifying the entire records of the table. So we have to define only one field as the primary key. To define the primary key, when you are creating the table, use the syntax like here. Create table, table name, here ID int. No need to use the not null. Just specify the primary key, because primary key is the combination of null, not null plus unique. Okay, here I am specified not null and primary key. No need to use not null, just primary key. Okay, L name, this is the data type, and not null. F name, age. If you want to naming the primary key, you can use the constraint keyword. And here I am specifying the primary key on two columns. ID plus L name becomes the identification for this person's table. Okay, now it ID and L name becomes the primary key for this entire table. The combination of ID and ID plus L name is to identify the other details, F name, age, and many more. So like this also we can specify. Here we use the constraint at the last statement. Always when you are closing the table, at the last line should be the constraint. Constraint and a name of the constraint and the type of the constraint and a columns list. Here we are naming the constraint as the PK person. And what is the constraint? Primary key. On which columns you are specifying the primary key? ID and L name. Those should be specified here. Like this we can specify. Now this person's table has the table constraint on ID and L name. What is the constraint here defined? Primary key. Okay, this is the example of defining the primary key. Okay, if you want to create the primary key constraint on the ID column when the table is already created, for that purpose you can add the primary key. Alter table persons. Add primary key. On which column? ID. You want to add the primary key constraint for the person's table. So you can do like this. To drop the primary key, you have to use the drop class with the alter statement. Alter table person to drop the previously defined constraint, that is the PK person, which is on the ID plus L name. You can use the drop constraint keyword to drop the primary key constraint which is defined on this person's table. Okay, next is the foreign key constraint. Foreign key constraint is also known as the reference key. Okay, this constraint is used to prevent actions that would destroy links between tables. This is the field or collection of fields in one table that refers to the primary key in another table. The table with the foreign key, in which the table is defined the foreign key, that is the child table, and the table with the primary key is called, which is referring, that is called the reference table or parent table. Usually this key constraint is used to link between the tables. If you want to relate the both are multiple tables, you need to specify the foreign key. And this is also called the referencing key. Means that the table's column is referencing the related table's same column. So we are also called this foreign key as the referencing key or references key. Okay, this is the example. Here we have the two table, persons and what is that? Orders table. Okay, here it columns person ID, last name, first name and age. These are the columns related to the person. Here I have the orders table. In the order ID, order number and person name. You observe that here this person ID is the primary key. because this person ID is the unique and which is used to identify the one, the number 1 belongs to some Hamson. First name is the Ola and whose age is 30, like that. So by using this, we are identifying the details of entire this person. Here we have the orders table. Okay, the orders performed by these persons. Okay, these are the order IDs and order numbers and person ID. Okay, the orders, now these two tables are linked by using this person ID column. This is the common. When we want to relate or link the both tables, you need to have the common column in both tables. And the data type also must be same. Now this person ID in the orders table becomes the foreign key or reference key, which refers the person. That means the orders table consists the only orders details of those persons who are in the persons table. If you want to, here I want to insert the new record. For example, here I want to insert the new record, some order ID 5, some number, some 111 and person ID 4. Here I want to inserting like this. It does not accept because the person, the ID with 4 is not in the person table. Okay, that is the meaning of foreign key, which means the person IDs are the references of its related tables. Only the persons in the person table 1, 2, 3, only these orders can be inserted into this. No other person's details can be no other person's orders can be entered in this orders table. Okay, in the person ID table, we have the primary key as the person ID. In the orders table, order ID is the primary key and person ID is the foreign key. Which means the foreign key constraint prevents invalid data from being inserted into the foreign key column, because it has to be one of the values contained in the parent table. This is the parent table and this is the child table. This is the foreign key which refers the person's table person ID. This can be defined like this. Okay, this is the pictorial representation. Means here is the, we are the two tables, student details and student relation. This roll number is the common in between these two. Here roll number is the primary key column. Okay, now in this table roll number becomes the foreign key because these student marks are related to this student only. Here it consists only details. The same students marks are inserted in this. So this is the reference relation and this is called the referencing relation. Okay, this can be defined like this. When you are creating the orders table, okay, we have to define the order person ID as the reference key. Okay, like for that you have to specify the order ID as the primary key. Okay, order number, that is a not null, and person ID is the same data type in the parent table, that is in the person's table. Foreign key, it is specified as the foreign key which references, which is referring the which tables, which column, person's table, person ID column. The name must be distinctive. For example, here person, in the person's table it is the person ID. The same may be specified as the PID in the orders table. But this PID is refers the person ID of the persons. Okay, so like this we can specify the what is that foreign key. And this is the naming the constraint. When you are naming the constraint, you need to specify the constraint FK constraint name foreign key on the person ID, which and the which column you are specifying the foreign key, person ID, references. The orders tables person ID is the now the foreign key which is referring the person's tables person ID. Okay, like that we can also specify. Okay, this is the after the creation of the table, you can add the foreign key like this. Add foreign key on the person ID which is referencing person's table person. This is the just using the specifying the what is the constraint on the specified column. If you want to name that foreign key in the future, we can by using that constraint name we can drop them. In those for that purpose you can name those constraints. For that purpose I have to use the constraint keyword, constraint name and constraint type, column name, references. Here foreign key, so you have to use the references, and the parents tables name and parent tables which column you are referring. Here we are named the FK person order. So this can be dropped by using the alter with drop statement. Alter table, from which table you are dropping the constraint orders table. What you are doing, dropping the constraint. Which constraint? Just you have to specify the constraint name, FK person order. That is dropped. That means the orders table foreign key constraint is dropped. Now you can insert the 4 as the person orders details, because it is not referring any person's tables person ID. Now you can insert the orders of related, not related to person's table. Any details can be entered in the orders table. Next is the check constraint. Check constraint used to limit the value range that can be placed in the column. If you want to specify the range of values for the specified column, the particular column, you need to define the check constraints on that column. If you define the check constraint on a column, it will allow only certain values for this column. Okay, if you define check constraint on table, it can limit the values in certain column based on the values in other columns in the row. Okay, depends based on that column only, the other columns can also be inserted. Okay, for example, here we are specifying the check constraint on the age column. What is the constraint on the check? The age must be greater than 18. Here we are creating the persons table. We are inserting the records of the details of the persons whose age is greater than or equal to 18. When you are inserting the record into the persons table, if you enter the age as the 15, it does not accept, because here we specified the age must be the greater than or equal to 18. So it accepts the only data that age must be the greater than or equal to 18. Okay, the same can be specified by using the naming by naming the constraint using this constraint keyword. Here I am defining the constraint on the persons table. Check first CHK person. Check age must be greater than or equal to 18 and city must be Sandnes. Always that city must be the Sandnes. Okay, though only the city to be accepted is Sandnes and age must be the greater than or equal to 18. This is affected when you are inserting the records. This is the alter. After the creation of the table, you can add the check constraint by using like this. To drop the check constraint, you use the alter table and drop constraint. Which table? Altering persons table. Which constraint you want to drop? Drop constraint. What is the name of the constraint? CHK person. The name of the constraint should be specified. Like this, you can drop the constraint. And next is the default constraint. Default constraint is used to specify the default value for the column. If you need to insert, for example, I am creating the table student. In the students table has the student roll number, name, father name, class, Okay, and college, always all the students must be belongs to the Pingiri college. Okay, no need to, every time you no need to specify the college, just you specify the default value as the college name. For that specified college name is equal to Pingili college. When you are creating or by using the alter, by using this default constraint, you can insert the other college name. If you not insert the any value for the college name, it automatically takes the default value as its value. Here we are creating the persons table whose city may be the Delhi. Default value is the Delhi. Now I am inserting the values. ID, someone, last name, first name, age, and city. Now I am inserting some Mumbai. It accepts. Now again I am inserting another record, ID, some value, and last name, first name, age, and I didn't entered any value for city. After when you are displaying those values, automatically for that ID which we are not enter the city value, that can be taken the city as the Delhi, because we have specified the default value as the Delhi. The default value will be added to all new records if no other value is specified. Okay, like this default values can be used to insert the data into the table. Okay, and alter table can also be, after the creation I want to set the default value for the city column. For that you can use the alter table persons. Here we are modifying the data, so you have to use the modify. Okay, data, when you are implementing the values, when you are using the values, in those situations you have to use the modify, modifying already existing city value to the default value as the Delhi. Okay, this can be that to drop the default constraint, you can use like this: alter table persons, alter column city. Which column you are dropping, drop default. We can specify as many as default values for the columns, and which column you are dropping the that default constraint. I am dropping the default constraint on the city column, so use the alter column city drop default. The default value for that city is the defined as the Delhi, that to be dropped. Okay, this is the dropping of the default constraint. These are the different types of constraints which we can define the tables as. Okay, the constraints can be defined when you are creating the tables, or already existing tables can be added the constraint by using the alter table command. Okay, this is about the constraint. This is the important topic, Nana. In the next class we will learn about the SQL functions.